I, 28 male, am a lot younger than my siblings. My youngest brother is 40. He has a teen son that he's ignored his whole life. He divorced his ex and quit his job to see the world when my nephew was a preschooler and I was 16. His ex stayed in our lives and we've all helped wherever possible. My brother is currently in town for a while. We decided to do an early Christmas so he could be a part of it, except he's been acting like an idiot. In my culture, referring to your elders as sir or ma'am is common. My brother heard my nephew refer to me as a sir and brayed out that he didn't need to treat me with respect. I'm barely old enough to dress myself, blah blah. I told him to shut up and not insert himself into conversations that don't concern him. He said that if his son is in it, it concerns him. He kept at it all afternoon. Everyone told him to knock it off, but he wouldn't. After dinner, my nephew started calling me by my name. I told him that we were in public and expected him to treat me respectfully. He said that his father says he doesn't have to, so I asked if that was who he listened to now. He said yes. I agreed with them that he doesn't have to treat me as an elder. When it came time to open gifts, I left what I bought my nephew in my car. We all exchanged gifts and it was a good evening. My nephew was disappointed that he didn't get any big gifts this year. My brother was at my house yesterday and noticed that I had a new toy. I decided to keep the handheld computer I'd gotten my nephew for myself. It's pretty cool. It's a full Windows computer but the size of a Nintendo Switch. My brother asked why I got a toy when I had all the consoles and a gaming computer. I was honest and told him that it was originally for his kid, but since I'm not to be respected as an elder, I have zero reason to waste money on him. My brother says I'm being an idiot and tried to get my family involved. They all rejected him. He tried to get my nephew to guilt me into it. I asked my nephew what his father had given him as a gift. I said that since he's sure that he wants his approval, his dad decided to make it such that he'd only accept him if he disrespected you. This puts him in a really difficult situation, where he must decide between someone he respects and someone he desperately wants approval of. In the end, he chose to disrespect you because you're the reliable one. He knows you're not just going to ditch him if you don't like one thing he did. Remember, your nephew is not the idiot here either. He's a kid with a crappy dad. Your brother is the real idiot here. Hopefully he learns his lesson about trying to pit his kid against you for whatever ego boost it gives him and puts his kid first. Everyone's the idiot here. You are an adult here at almost 30. Your nephew probably has abandonment issues tied to your brother and will likely do anything to please him and gain his approval. Exactly, there's no way for this kid to win. The issue here isn't who the kid is willing to listen to, it's the disrespect between siblings and the kid is caught in the middle. For that exact reason, I hope when Dad flakes out, the rest of the family doesn't hold this incident against the kid. He's desperate for his dad's love even though he doesn't deserve it, and he picks his side based on that. When this dust settles and Dad is AWOL again, I really hope the love of the rest of the family is there to catch this kid. On Thanksgiving, my daughter lost her AirPods. We did find the AirPods and they were at my sister's house in my nephew Adam's young teen bedroom. He claims it was a mistake and he thought they were his. But when we got them back, the AirPods were still in the pink donut carrying clip that my daughter uses. Adam has made a lot of mistakes over the years, from taking gaming controllers, AirPods and toys that he randomly finds. This has been an ongoing issue and I think at his age it's time for Adam to stop making these mistakes. I told my sister and Adam that he wasn't welcome at my home for Christmas because he had made a mistake and stolen other people's things. I don't think I'm being mean, but I'm sick of the little thief who has no consequences and I don't want him in my home anymore. Because of this, my mom is hosting Christmas because I don't want to. I made it clear to my family why. I think it's past time we addressed Adam's issue. My mother and sister think I'm going about this the wrong way and I'm way too mean to Adam over a little mistake, but I'm honestly just sick of being around him. I had to tell my kids not to take any expensive or new gifts they like to Grandma's. I've also told them to stop sharing with Adam and any gifts we unwrap at Grandma's go straight to the car to be locked up. The situation makes me angry because I now feel like I have to punish my kids for Adam's behavior, and they can't play with their things on Christmas and be vigilant because their cousin steals and no one but me seems to give two craps about how wrong that is. Adam has had a lot of mistakes over the years, from taking gaming controllers, AirPods and toys that he randomly finds. What damn mistakes? Well, you can start correcting things by not using language that hides the truth of the matter. When your sister makes another mistake, say Adam steals things. Call a spade, and don't feel bad about it. If your mother, sister or Adam have problems with that, then tell them to look at themselves, their words, their actions and their character. You are not the idiot. I disagree. If you tell a child they're a thief, they will believe you and make it part of their identity. You have to word it, until Adam learns to stop stealing, or Adam has been stealing without consequence. Make it about the behavior. If no one addresses his sticky fingers, there are no consequences to his kleptomania, and you, OP, don't have any mandate to do anything about it. You are entitled to ban him from your home. Educate your kids on how to protect their belongings from him and warn them about him by name. He's a bad influence, and you don't want your home and your kids to be hurt by him, or worse, pick up those behaviors for themselves. They learn by example that being a bad apple has no shame or consequences. It's not even kleptomania. Kleptos are preoccupied with stealing things that have little to no value. Nephew is just a thief, plain and simple. I had a thief niece. She would steal anything that wasn't attached. It made family gatherings uncomfortable. Sadly, we found out too late she had a serious drug problem. She stole everything so she could fund the bad habits she created. She left behind 2 teenage daughters, who are now being raised by her ex-girlfriend and her new wife. Geez, it sounds like daytime television. Don't let this kiddo learn that if he says it was an accident, he gets away with it. He'll end up in a lot of trouble one day because of his sticky fingers. I, 34 female, am obese. I'm actively working toward losing weight and I've made progress, but I'm still obese as I'm typing this. I'm going over to see my brother and his husband for Christmas across the country, and because I'm fat, I booked an extra seat so everyone can be more comfortable. I know it sucks having to pay for an extra seat, but it is what it is. I know Southwest Airlines has this customer of size policy, but I've had some bad experiences with Southwest even before I was obese, so I wasn't doing that, and it's mostly my fault I even got fat. Everything goes smoothly from checking in to security and boarding, at least at first. This woman comes to my row with a boy who appeared to be about a year old. She told me to squeeze into one seat so her son could sit in the other. She told me, not asked. I told her no and that I paid for this seat for the extra space. She makes a big fuss over it, which gets the flight attendant's attention. She told the flight attendant I was stealing the seat from her son, and then I showed my boarding passes proving that I in fact paid for the extra seat. The flight attendant asked me if I could just try to squeeze in, but I said no and wanted the extra seat I paid for. The boy, who the mom said was 18 months old, was supposed to sit in her lap so he could do just that. The flight attendant eventually told the mom to put her son in her lap. I got dirty looks and passive-aggressive remarks from her for the entire flight, and I do feel a little bad because the boy looked hard to control. So, am I the idiot? She's the idiot for not buying a seat for her son, assuming someone else would give up a seat they paid for. Odds are she was hoping there'd be extra seats on the flight so she didn't have to pay and use the lap thing as a loophole. It's a classic case of you snooze, you lose. Exactly. Yes, I will move, as soon as you Venmo me the amount of the ticket cost. It's unacceptable for the flight attendant to ever tell you to squeeze in. It's great that you stood your ground, but a more timid passenger may not have, and no one should be put in that position by a person who is in a position of authority. The flight attendant needs to be held accountable. Please report this incident to whatever airline you flew. No one can control whether other passengers are idiots, but the airline is responsible for the behavior of the flight attendant. You are a little bit of an idiot to yourself for how apologetic you are in this story about your size. You should always do what you can to be as healthy as you can, but being fat isn't a character flaw or a moral failing. We all have our own challenges in life, and you deserve not to be ashamed of your body and yourself even if you aren't currently meeting your goals. If a mom wants an extra seat for her kids, she should have purchased one. She's not entitled to a seat you purchased, and you don't need to feel bad for her bad behavior. I, female 21, live with my mom and stepdad. My stepdad has one daughter, Tia, female 30s. Tia is married and has 9 kids with her husband. They also have over 7 cats. They live in a 4-bedroom house, but as you can imagine, it's still pretty cramped. I haven't spent loads of time with Tia as she was already an adult when our parents married. My mom and the rest of my immediate bio family really dislike Tia and her husband. I've visited Tia's home several times over the years and it's always looked like an absolute mess. The house always stinks of cat urine and you can't even see the floor where stuff is everywhere. The kids themselves don't seem neglected before anyone asks. They always look clean and it's just the actual house. Tia's husband is also constantly working on DIY home projects that never get finished, which also just adds to the clutter and crap everywhere. My family normally rotates around who's hosting the Christmas get-together. Tia last hosted it in 2019. It caused an argument between my mom and stepdad behind closed doors because my mom said if Tia hosted again, she wouldn't be going. As usual, the house was a mess. Tia's husband served everyone, including all the family's kids, seriously undercooked chicken. It was still cold in the middle. My mom pointed this out and they threw it in the trash. Luckily, no one had eaten it. They had no gifts for anyone, not even my stepdad, who spent over $600 on their kids. I know gifts aren't absolutely necessary, but this felt rude. Then they unexpectedly asked everyone to leave after we'd been there for 2 hours as Tia's mom and maternal grandparents were coming over. This year, Tia has volunteered to host again and invited us. My mom didn't want to go and said we should stay home this Christmas. My stepdad agreed this time, so we're going to stay home. My older bio siblings also do not want to revisit Tia for Christmas and all told her that they aren't going and said they have other plans. Tia was pleasant about it over text, but on Facebook she made passive-aggressive posts about how her fake family doesn't want to visit her on Christmas. I may be an idiot because I grew tired of seeing these posts. I ran into Tia last week at the store and she mentioned it to me, saying that she's hurt by everyone not visiting. I told her very bluntly we weren't visiting her because no one wanted her to host. She and her husband happily accepted gifts from everyone but got nothing for anyone, tried to feed us raw chicken, and their house was a mess. Tia and I started arguing, and she said that we should have communicated to her like adults, rather than just not visit her, but I feel like some things are just common sense. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Maybe because she always lives that way, she doesn't notice most of the things people object to. However, serving dangerously undercooked chicken, still cold in the center, is something anybody should have noticed. It's not nice to potentially poison yourself and all your relatives. The chicken by itself was a reason not to risk it again. The other awful things were just trimmings to the central problem. I feel like being kicked out after 2 hours is really the central problem. Don't offer to host if you don't intend on hosting. What a gift grab it was. Nobody wants to celebrate cat pee Christmas. Tia should have the common sense to save herself the embarrassment. I disagree. She said that we should have communicated to her like adults rather than just not visit her. She's right. You are the idiot. Your behavior is immature. Yes, some things are just common sense, but sometimes common doesn't mean universal, and it sounds like no one has said a word for 4 years. Excuse me, she needs other adults to tell her her place is a mess, the chicken is undercooked, and to buy gifts for others, and she has 9 children and 7 goddamn cats. Between 3 bedrooms too, if the parents have their own, which I'm very sure they would. They're self-centered, rude, poor hosts. Based on their current reaction, how would they have reacted if you told them like adults? Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I maybe get that naive people think you could tell someone politely that gift-giving goes both ways and that their house is hygienically off-putting, and somehow believing those messages would be received well. But seriously, you need to tell people that salmonella poisoning is bad hosting. LOL. I've discovered that my Christmas gifts are going to be a vacuum cleaner, pots and pans, a cooler, and a Costco membership. I'm hurt and angry that my husband is gifting me these items as I consider them household gifts and not appropriate Christmas gifts for a person. It makes me feel like my only value is cooking, cleaning, and running errands. The kids knew these gifts were off the mark, and when they tried to guide their dad in the right direction, they were told that what I was receiving was enough. I'm so upset that I don't know how I can properly communicate why these gifts are low effort and thoughtless. The only gift he gave me last year was a candle, which he promptly moved to his home office. Even my stocking was empty. When I shared how disappointed I was with the items that were being delivered to our house this year, he got upset and said he would return everything, like I was ungrateful for wanting just 1 or 2 thoughtful gifts specifically for me. Am I the idiot for not being thankful for what he's giving me? Not the idiot. Your husband is outright telling you that he thinks of you as a maid and not much more. Instead of getting you something personal related to your interests or things you like, he's getting you a vacuum cleaner. Gifts are supposed to be given out of love and affection, and it's clear the only thing he knows about you is that you, presumably, do most of the housework. You deserve better. Maybe I'm petty, but I give him a taste of his own medicine. Don't fill his stocking this year. Give him a candle you later steal. See if he still doesn't understand the problem then. I'd go all out and add toothpaste and deodorant to the list. Maybe a shared bathroom garbage pail and toilet paper. Who knows when the next pandemic will strike? Or tell him a vacuum cleaner is great as long as it comes with 10 plus free coupons where he does the vacuuming for you, or pots with lots of coupons for him to cook dinner. My aunt gave her husband a toaster one year. He was so mad, he never got her a household item again. Does the house need a new microwave or toaster? What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Take those gifts, rewrap them and label them with his name. Proceed to buy yourself awesome gifts and wrap them as if he did. Excitedly open your gifts on Christmas and thank your husband profusely while asking why he hasn't opened his new vacuum and what he's planning on cooking you for dinner tonight in his new crock pot.